Okay, hello once again to another episode of Poetry Squared. We are with, this time, with the wonderful Jonathan. Jonathan, I've forgotten your surname already.
That's all right.
Well, Jonathan
DeMelkon.
DeMelkon. It was an unusual name, right?
Yeah, I think it's one of a kind. It's Armenian in origin.
Is it really?
Yeah, my dad's Armenian.
Okay. You've got a US twang, so
I have a US twang. I was born in the States to immigrant parents. Mother's Irish, father's Armenian, and then as soon as I could, I left the country again to pursue a film career.
Proper migrant family.
yeah.
I'm not staying here. Great, yeah. I've got a bit of migration in my family too, so nice. Okay, so Jonathan, welcome first and foremost.
Thank you for having me.
Not at all. Thanks for coming down. We were talking just before we came on air about like how you describe yourself as a creative, as a professional, and you go for like filmmaker, director, and writer rather than videographer. Do you want to expand on that a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I've always loved storytelling and writing, and then the first sort of craft that I was attracted to was filmmaking. So when I was younger, I had a old school, it was like one of the first generation digital cameras. It was a Kodak, and I did stop motion film with Lego, and that's sort of where I really learned that you can put visual to story. And since then, I've loved directing. I've broke into that. Directing actors is something very special to me because I think there's so much science to filmmaking, such as like lighting technique and aesthetic and color palette, color science. With actors, there is a science to it, but because everyone is so different, the personality that the actor brings just by being who they are.
It's man management, right? Yeah. The art of... Alex Ferguson comes to mind. I don't know if you know Fergie.
No.
One of the greatest managers in Premier League history, like football. And he was just like an excellent man manager. With like all the players, you could say he was actors, if you like, on stage, on the pitch. He'd know how to treat them differently. Like Eric Cantona, if you know Eric Cantona, French guy. He was like just seen as this. He was an amazing, one of the most brilliant players he'd ever had, and he knew that, this guy was a real sort of creative. He was a wild spirit, and he had to be treated as such. He couldn't be put in line. So yeah.
Wow, that's cool. Yeah, no, I know exactly what you're saying. Like
so the art of managing the actors, that relationship,
and leadership as well. I think I have a gift to like see what the best in people is, and like I believe the light is in you, and everything I do.
That's your slogan.
That is my slogan. Yeah. And yeah, like I'll pinpoint when I was a student. There were some people I was like, oh, you'd be very good at it as being an assistant director, just because you have that sort of mentality of scheduling and shot listing and keeping time management. And he wasn't an AD, but then we got him on, and it just worked. Yeah, I think I love working with crews. Going back to like what you said about videography, I love working with crews, putting a team together so it's like the best of the best. Like I've done so much camera operating in my life, but I'm still not a camera operator, if that makes sense. So getting people in and then leading on the vision is something we specialize in.
Sure. And you told me you started at a very early age. Like you made your first film, your first piece when you were 14, correct? And then got your first like commission, if you like, 17. What got you into it?
Well, I think what kept me going was bringing people together. When I was in high school, this is in Virginia, where I was born originally. I don't remember what it was. We adapted a film. We adapted a story in literature class, and it was about the most dangerous game. Have you heard of this? It's basically Predator, but just a human likes to hunt people.
Okay.
And yeah, basically, yeah, because he gets bored of hunting tigers. Tigers aren't enough of an allure. Humans are the ultimate predator to hunt. And we adapted that, and then I just got the itch from there, and that I was probably 16. Then I was like, well, I could keep doing this. I don't need to just be told to do it in a class. So on the weekends, I'd grab fellow students, and we'd just shoot on the school grounds for the most part, just go out into the fields, shoot stuff externally, and then all of a sudden, after 2 or 3 years, that all cut together into a feature film, which when we were 18, we premiered at a cinema.
Cool.
Yeah.
So you've obviously just had a real passion, as you say, vision for it. Okay. So what's... Let's have a little look at my questions for a second. What's been the proudest moment of your career so far?
Oh, wow.
How old are you now? Do you mind me asking?
I'm 30.
You're 30.
Yeah, I just turned 30.
It's a decade and a half, pretty much. What's your proudest moment?
I think the proudest moment is my continual development on myself, I would say. It's like the ongoing process of just continuing to believe in the vision. There's so many people I've seen that they turn to social media or they turn to just a corporate job, and you can pinpoint like, oh, but you directed an amazing thing back then. And I think I've had my moments where I wouldn't necessarily know what's next or believe in myself, but I think sticking through it has been the most rewarding thing. Just being true to yourself has been the most rewarding thing that I've done and continue to do.
Yeah. That's very inspiring.
Thank you.
And a very grounding way of putting it. Yeah.
To answer your question in more of like a tangible material thing, I did a fashion film.
Okay.
I'm happy to talk about that.
Yeah. Go for it.
So the fashion film was just before COVID. So we started it in 2019 and we wrapped it in 2020. And it was a set of garments that a designer that I knew did as her final dissertation. And it was about trauma. And she had been in 2 car collisions very soon after each other. So what she did was she took these garments and designed them to evoke that trauma. So there were seatbelts, coming out of the dresses and airbags popping out. It's very like high fashion runway style. Like you wouldn't go out in public wearing airbags, but
not usually.
No, not usually, exactly. Although if you're in London, you can get away with it.
But nobody with bad eyelids.
Yeah, and that's what I love about London as well. But yeah, the story behind it is all right to go on a little tangent.
Go for it, man.
Cool.
All about the tangent.
So the trolley story is about, I was in a place where I didn't have a lot of money and I was jumping between houses, and I was still doing filmmaking, but I was also like figuring out what's sort of next. And I had a lot of items from a shoot that we had done, student film shoot up in Barnet towards Middlesex. Yeah. And if you've ever been in that area, you might actually know that there's a lot of trolleys around that area that people just...
My dad's from that area, but I don't know it. And
it's
very rarely been.
When you look around like the Brent Cross, Golders Green area, it's trolley world. It really is. It's so funny. So I was like, okay, I got a duvet. I had a big commercial rice cooker to feed the crew. Yeah. Like a 7-liter big fucking thing. And I filled it up with maybe a tripod, the rice cooker. I had this trolley, and I was pushing it with the intention to go all the way where I was staying in South London, in Kent. So going from Barnet to Kent with a trolley filled with equipment, because I didn't have the money for an Uber.
Oh, right.
It's all what it's about.
Yeah.
And then I'm pushing the trolley, and I don't know if you can relate. You probably...
I have a trolley story.
Okay, that's awesome. Oh, man. But when you push it and the wheels lock up. Yeah. So I was pushing it, and it was really just frustrating. And it was like, I'm just making it mean everything just sucks right now because I have to carry this thing. There might not be step-free access everywhere. Yeah. And at the time as well, I had been through quite a tumultuous breakup. And out of the breakup, I was definitely learning, instead of going into the fear and the negative emotion, I was learning to love. So I'm pushing this trolley. It's going wonky. Lots of downhill. I think it was a bin day, so the bins were blocking half of the road as well. People are passing. Yeah, a lot of it's like downhill, but not in a good way. When you've got a lot of weight dragging you down. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, I was like, well, hold on. Let me love this thing. I know it sounds silly. It's an inanimate object, but all of a sudden, it started being easier to push.
It's a metaphor for life, this, isn't it?
Right?
This is beautiful, mate.
So then all of a sudden I'm doing a dance with the trolley.
Take anything away from today.
Love the trolleys. I have a new appreciation every time I go to the grocery store, even if I see them out. I literally, if I type trolley into my camera roll, you know, with AI search now, there will be lots of pictures. I just take pictures of trolleys. But I learned, all of a sudden I'm doing dance, I'm pulling it, and then all of a sudden the wheels lock up again, and I'm pushing it, and it's flowing. And I took that emotion, and when I got this fashion film job, that was the idea. It was, what if we could turn this into contemporary dance? So
I've seen this video you've done. You're on the road, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
So
okay, that's very cool.
That's the origin of like the story behind it. And yeah, that was a great experience as a director as well, because I don't know anything, especially I didn't know anything about contemporary dance. I know what good movement looks like, just, you know, innately, you can sort of tell what you're looking for on the emotion. So we put the brief together, did the casting, found an amazing choreographer, and just through emotion, I was able to tell the story. Because you just give the emotional direction. We had the beats lined out, and it basically goes from hating and confusion and anger, and all of a sudden there's just a switch, because that's how easy it is. I know it's hard, but it's also easy once you know what to do.
Yeah, the mindset. You're only one thought away from positivity,
yes,
right? Or love.
Completely.
Nice, man. My trolley stories just didn't end in a video, but it did end in a wardrobe.
Okay.
It's like my housemate was getting it at the time, was annoyed with me for using the storage space, like the communal cupboard, to keep my stuff in. I'm like, yeah, I've got absolutely. So I've got luggage that I want to put up there. So I was like, yeah, fair enough. So like that evening, I kind of put it out there that I was going to find a wardrobe, and I didn't have. I was on a like strict budget at the time. Didn't want to spend any money. I just went for a walk. I really like free flowing walk. I was like, no, I'm just gonna almost get lost here. I'm not gonna know where I'm going. Ended up taking like the long way home. I'm finding this trolley upside down on the street, nearish to Sainsbury's, but quite a fair way out. And I looked at it and I thought, all I really need is like something to hang my clothes on, and then maybe like a basket there I could put my trousers and stuff in there.
That's cool.
So I thought, I wasn't very far from home. I was like, you know what? I'm going to use this as a trolley wardrobe.
That's awesome.
And I did. And I pushed it all the way uphill, which is quite a steep hill, dragged it up, put it in the lift. And he wasn't very happy when he saw it.
Oh, my God.
But I kept it in my room for quite a few months, and it worked perfectly.
Yeah.
I had it had the wardrobe. I used the bar as like the thing to hang my clothes up. Then I had a little bit for like my underwear and stuff, you know, like the little seat that you have. And then I used the front as dirty laundry.
That's so cool.
So like
That's like more effective than just like, you know, a chest of drawers. Yeah. And it's the sturdiest wardrobe you could get.
It's mobile, you know. When I need to take off,
you take it straight to the laundry room as well. Yeah.
Okay. Right. So let's have a look. Music. We talked about like music videos. Yep. You've done a lot of stuff.
Yep.
What's got you? What was the like? How's that happened in your career?
That's a great question. I don't necessarily know the answer.
Yeah.
So I've always loved music and musicians. I don't play anything myself. I say I play the pen, right? But like I had done music videos in Virginia, but then I just got plugged in to musicians and lots of students, because when I moved I was 21, so like a lot of people were either still in uni or graduating, of like the people I was meeting.
Okay.
And a lot of them know people in bands, and London obviously has a massive music scene, many scenes all over the place. And then from there I just did lots of music videos, and I think they're really useful from a craft perspective, because it's a lot of intense work for short amounts of time. Like one feature film, that's kind of like one project. And you might work for, 30 days, but it's still one project. Whereas the music video, you're building a set, filming the set, lighting it, shooting it, and then all of a sudden you're on to the next one, which is a completely different vibe. So I think I've learned a lot about quick turnarounds and just different practices across doing that.
And they're usually obscure music videos into like they're not storytelling in the traditional sense. Obviously, music's there, but that kind of gives more license, it seems, to outrageous outfits or just like people on cars or what have you. It's like
music videos.
Describe that properly.
They don't need any motivation. Like if you say, "Oh well, why is the light there? What's the motivation behind it?" "Oh well, it's the sun," or it's it's sunset because it's reflecting a new day. Music videos don't necessarily need that. They just need to look pretty. Now, I'm not saying that makes it a good music video. Obviously, you want story.
What do you think does make a good music video?
Oh, okay. What makes a good music video? I think pushing some sort of boundary always makes me enjoy a music video, even if I'm thinking like the Lumineers did a series of videos that I love, but they didn't necessarily push any boundaries, but what they did was they made it a series, so you want to watch the whole anthology of videos. But then there's people like Kendrick Lamar in Humble does like that crazy camera jumping shot, or I've seen behind the scenes like a camera going into someone's mouth for a hip-hop video. I think just doing something unique that hasn't been done before, and not necessarily being a one-trick pony. You want to have consistency over the quality. And I think that's what makes a music video stand out. Nice.
I like the idea of the like sequential music videos. You've got like an album of music videos. Right? Nice. Okay. So yes, this is great. So when we met last week, we talked about writing, and you talked about your characters that you bring with you into every situation, and like you go back in time with them or forward in time. I really love that idea. So I wanted to ask you about that and ask you just to explain that to everybody.
Yeah, definitely. So I have so much IP in my head at the moment that I cannot wait to share. For varying from like, could be a comic book. You know, I've got these little stories, but I'm building up to a TV show, and I also have like a feature film that I'd love to get off the ground. And something I've learned about writing is once you have the characters, the scenes write themselves. So I'll spend a lot of time designing the character and the personality and where they're from. Like I've spent 2 days, 3 days just figuring out someone's name, you know, and because I love sort of language stretching is what a friend and I call it. And it's like, so a word might not exist, but that doesn't mean if you say it,
it won't come into existence.
Yeah, it won't come into existence, and people will know what it means. And with characters, like designing the person and who they are, I think is very important to me, at least, because then you just know what they're going to say. You could put them in a pub, you could put them playing pool with each other, you could send them on a plane, go on vacation, and you know what they're all going to say every time. Like, just like any normal friendship, the banter is different between everyone.
Yeah. So you've got those characters in your head, so you don't really go for storyline so much.
So I think, to me, the story can be the main beats. So, like, for example, this collision story, I know there's not actors, but I'll try and make it stretch. But, like, you know that the trauma has to happen. You know that it has to start confused, and it has to end with joy and elation. But how you get to all of those can be different every time, because the thought process to get to it, like if you're upset at someone who spilled a coffee over you, but then 30 minutes later, you've made peace with it. Well, why have you made peace with it? Have you made peace with it because it maybe, I mean, the other side is you could feel like you deserved it, right? But making peace with it could be just letting go, understanding that maybe that it wasn't their fault. And yeah, I don't know. But like with characters, a lot of them live in my head. And I think that's a very cool thing I've been doing fairly recently. And by recently, I mean like the past year or so. Like there's a main character for this sort of bigger universe I'm working on, and it's science fiction. And they're living a life almost parallel to me at this point.
Yes, you mentioned that.
Because I want to experience things with that closeness of them, and they might be going through things that I might be going through, but they might make it mean something different.
Yeah, I mean, perspective is everything. How far back, you mentioned this time thing as well, how far back's the furthest your character's gone back in time?
Oh, that's a great question. Ancient Egypt. or before.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's pretty
thousands of years.
old.
Yeah, thousands of years before, and thousands of years ahead potentially.
Right.
So it's very like.
That's really interesting.
Yeah, I've always loved time travel. I probably attribute it to the television series Lost. Have you seen Lost?
I've heard of it. I've never watched it.
It's so good. I know people hate the ending.
Angry,
I know it's so divisive.
Like, I've my life to this. What have you done to me?
Yeah, but I love it. I love everything about it. I am the type of person to appreciate art just at the face value as well. Because it's like, I could go in and you could tweak it all and it could be, you make it the perfect thing, but that's not what happens. You know?
There's something surely interesting about like people that are angry right there. They're people that demand an ending to something like some sort of finality. But they say with all stories, the hardest thing is to end them because nothing ends. Nothing's ever ended ever.
That's a great point.
It's just infinite, like life. So maybe that's something to come to terms with for some people.
It makes me think, like people say, it's not goodbye forever, it's goodbye for now.
Yeah.
Right?
And like enjoying something for the sake of it in that moment without needing it to be going anywhere or say, finding a conclusion. It's easy for me to say I haven't seen that. Hours of my life.
But like the way they look at time is it's very universe. It's not a multiverse, and I definitely subscribe to that. You can argue like spiritual dimensions and all of that. That's cool, but like I believe in the reality as well. So like for example, if you were to mess with time, for example, maybe you stop someone from spilling that coffee on you.
Okay, yeah, preventative measures. I mean, that's like the best kind of time travel, isn't it?
But then the question is, if you were destined for that to happen, maybe you were destined to learn the lesson that would have led to, and by learning that lesson, then all the trickle-on effects.
Yes, the butterfly effect.
Butterfly, thank you. Yes, butterfly effect.
What I find interesting about this is like the stuff that's happening to me now. I realize I put it in you can put it in your vortex or whatever you like, manifested it quite a long time ago. Suddenly it's like coming in and it's almost like it feels like time travel in some ways. It's like, oh, okay, now it's coming in. But I put it in there, I like desired it, put it out there to happen a while ago. Up to the point where I'd kind of forgotten that that's what I wanted to do. It's like, oh, right, no, it did.
That's happened to me. Cool. Yeah, I was digging up some old papers recently, and it was basically like, if you want your business to work, you need an office and all this. And I was like, oh my God, I have a studio apartment. I didn't have a studio apartment when I wrote that. I was in a house share. And it's like, well, this is my office. You made that happen. It manifested, but it doesn't always manifest in the way you expect. No. I was expecting, start my morning, go to Liverpool Street, get into the office, take the lift to the 12th floor or something like that. But no, it's I've got exactly what I need right in front of me.
Yeah, nice. Details, isn't it? You got to be precise in the details as much as you can. Otherwise, okay.
Yeah, it's like the genie, right? You need to have like a fucking dissertation written to make sure the wish is correct.
Yeah, exactly. And then burn it in the right manner. I know you've talked about you got a lot of IP in your head and there's a lot of stuff you can't talk about. But in terms of like future plans, we just talked about manifestation. Is there anything you can talk about that's in the pipeline? Yeah,
so the closest thing that's like coming to life at the moment, I'm working on a music documentary about A&R. And so A&R is audience and repertoire. And what that is, it involves scouting, shaping talent, and finding the next best thing. And also, like, so an A&R person might be like, okay, you look great, but actually we only want the lead singer. Or drop the makeup, do colorful hair, and things like that.
Okay,
and because they're supposed to be experts in making sure that it can sell and be commercial. Because, as much as we love doing art for art's sake, there is a bottom line that, shareholders do worry about.
Yeah. The money has to come from somewhere, right?
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, doing that, and I've got so many ideas, like for a comic book and like the
anything you can talk about
science fiction. I mean, like I'll tell you about the lighthouse. So there's this lighthouse. It's basically like an interdimensional, like quantum pub. But what happens when you walk inside of it? It's dictated based off of your intention. I think this is very Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, like the bar at the end of the universe type of thing. And you might want to walk in and meet up with someone, and as long as you put in that attention, like for example, if we were to walk into the BFI South Bank, it looks like it does for one person. But if I walked in 10 seconds later with the intention to meet someone else, maybe far future, all of a sudden it could look like an ice bar. And both things are happening.
Polar bears serving drinks.
Oh, that would be awesome. Okay, yeah, I didn't think about that, but we can go there. Yeah, they need to fucking sign up to the union, right? Yeah, the polar bears need some work.
Yeah. All right, cool. That's the Lighthouse.
Yeah, the Lighthouse Tavern. Yeah.
Lighthouse Tavern. Nice. Okay. Yeah. Final question for this bit of the interview is, like, what is your favourite TV series or film of all time?
Oh God.
Which is quite a tough question.
Yes.
But
okay.
I'll tell you what. Let's make it a little easier. Give us your top three.
Oh, thank you. Okay, cool. I can do top three.
Yeah.
So Lost is my favorite show of all time. I love everything they've done. Michael Giacchino is my favorite composer.
Yeah.
Which means I just love the whole thing to the core. I've learned so much about like how you can just create motifs for characters, and I know John Williams and all composers do this, but like I've really attached to the music in Lost, the writing of Lost, how everything ties together, and sometimes doesn't tie together, right? Some people aren't fans of like the mystery box concept, but I think if you do it right and have a payoff, some shows do it better, but you know, that's just what it is. Then my favorite film has to be Back to the Future.
Okay.
That's such a good one.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I love time travel, right? Yeah. Can't escape. Back to the Future is just such a perfect film in my opinion. Just great action adventure. It opens great, it ends great. And then there's another film, honorable mention, which came out around the time I moved to London, and it's basically about chasing your dreams. It's called Sing Street.
Okay.
Have you heard of Sing Street?
Sing Street. No.
It's an Irish film that follows some schoolboys in Dublin in the 80s, and the guy sees the hot girl across the street when they're on school break, and he's like, I'm gonna talk to her. Yeah. So he goes up to her, and he's like, hey, and she's like, hey, and then it's like, so you want to be in my band's music video? And she's like, yeah, go on. So he runs across to his mate, and he's like, mate, we need to start a band. And that's the premise. It's about chasing your dreams. Yeah.
Chasing girls.
Yeah. Definitely.
Chasing each other. That's great. All right, man. Well, we're going to do... pleasure to have you on.
Simon, thank you.
Not
awesome.
at all.
Yeah,
really
cool.
Great. We're going to take a little break, and then we'll come back and do the poem.